That's fine. Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. Today I got a few new things in this week, but as some of you know, I've been on a band that I kind of broke the band because I decided, well, what happened was that some of you know, some of my videos have been a little dark. And I think that's because the camera's going. So I bought this new camera for filming the color in chats, the diamond paintings and chats, and the flip throughs. Because you know, a lot of you know, I do my lives via a webcam, like I do now. But for everything that I film downstairs, I usually use a little camera. So I got this camera. The only thing that hasn't come yet, guys, is the memory card. So once the memory card comes, I can do some more recording on. This is the brand new camera I got. It's really nice. I like it. It's 24 megapixels. They say it films in 1080p. So for those who like that, it has one of these things that you can easily take off the camera. And then you can take it in, and then it has a little handle like this, which I like. I bought this at Amazon. It's like the only thing I bought during the week besides the memory card. Because I have to have the memory card with the camera. You guys know that. Then from Blick, you know, I had placed an order before the band. So some of you know I was out of my light peach color, and look what came. I bought a whole little stack of them. Light peach pencil, because you guys know I go through my light peach pencil. If you guys know, have any idea that you guys have the dew skin, you definitely need your light peach. Then I'm going to show you this. Now, someone wanted to know how you do the marker refill. Now, this is the old Copic. This is what the old Copic looks like now. This is what the brand new Copic marker refills look like. This is called RV66. This is what Copic, the new refills look like. So yeah, they look like a tube of mascara. Someone asked me, how do you refill the tips with the refill? I'm going to show you how you refill them, how you're supposed to refill them. You're supposed to take both ends out, but I've never had luck taking out the smaller end. And this is specifically made for Copic markers. This is a marker tweezer that I'm particularly having trouble with. See, this is the new Copic refill, Robin. It looks like a tube of mascara. And I'm going to open it and show you the new nozzle. This is the brand new nozzle on the Copic refill. Okay. And you're not supposed to do more than 1 milliliter on it. So basically you're supposed to do it like this. Good evening, Dimitri. So you put them in. See? See, here is where the nibs tell you where you're supposed to refill it to. So when I get down to here, that's a milliliter. Once I've done it, so then you place this back on. Make sure when you tap the refills that you tighten up the refill. So here they tell you where the 1 milliliter is. Well, that's how much you're supposed to refill it. Then you put back in the tip your chisel. But the thing is that when they did it, they took out both ends on the demonstration video. And you fill it in from the big end, but I don't have much luck taking out the nibs. the brush nibs, and I'm not going to do that. So every time I take out the brush nibs, I damage the nibs doing it. So not the chisel, but just the. So then you shake it. Someone said they wanted a demonstration of how you refill with the new one. That's one way to refill. The other way is to do it the way that they did in the demo video. I had it done like this, and they took both nibs out, and then they did it flat. I don't know where my marker paper is. Oh, wait a minute, I do. Sorry, guys. This is a Copic marker paper, so see? That means this has been dried so long. So here's a way to do the thing. If your nib is dry, this is. And that's how you refill your dried nib with the new refills. I had to look at a demo video to do this. This color's been very dry for a while. See? That means this has been really, really dry for a while. Not that it's a bad mark, it just means that I haven't had this color for a long time. So that's how you refill. Sometimes you do need to refill your tips like that because they don't always work. So that's how I use it. Because I got this paper from a marker thingy, so. See, I like this Copic marker paper because it's a good way to test what the papers look like on. Good for other markers too. So that's just scrap paper. So I wanted to show you guys the difference in the. Now this is the old Copic refill. When you see how much different it looks, it's chunky. It doesn't have as fine a nib as the new one does. The new one has a finer nib. Sorry, guys. So I just wanted to show you the new nibs. Now this one, this is the book we're going to be using. Now this one is an interesting one because this is a brand new book. Now I got this as Happy Mail from Jessica. Jessica's not here, but I want to say thank you to Jessica. You guys know her as Miss Color Me a Pink Monkey, or as we've come to know her, Miss Pinky. So thank you, Jessica. So this book is interesting because it's line art and grayscale. So, and this is a Molly Harrison. Now you guys know I really, really love Molly Harrison. I do a lot of her grayscale. And then you get this. Get a blank page, but that's okay. You'll understand why in a minute. So you get one version that's line art. Then you get one version that's grayscale. Then you get a blank page. I think this is to protect the page, but you would still use a blotter. Like, even though you're using this, like that. So you get one grayscale picture, you get one. Like this is a regular picture. This is the picture in grayscale. See, but you notice that there's little differences, like little stars here. I've never had a book that's quite like this, either if I've had the line art or the grayscale version. So I kind of like that they do one side that's line art and then they do one side that's grayscale. I think that's very nice. And then the in-between pages are nice too. So thank you, Jess. I would have never thought to do a book like this. Line art and grayscale in one. See how much different the grayscale image is than the line art. And I know there are people. It is a beautiful book. I love Molly Harris. And you can do grayscale in pencil. Don't be afraid to try it in pencil. Pencil's what you like to use. For me, I like using markers with grayscale, but that's me. I've done grayscale in pencil. In what book? Was it Slavic Beauties, I think, had a grayscale book? So remember, you guys get the first flips because this is live. Just like this, because you could do all kinds of things with the gel pens. Notice that there's different details highlighted in the line art than in the grayscale, and vice versa. And that's the end of the book. So it's 26 images to color in total, so I guess it's 13 line art and 13 grayscale. So that's what makes it a lot of fun. So we're going to go back to Tales from the Midnight Masquerade. And guys, you know, on a piece of volume paper, look at what. I love coloring people. Sorry, guys, I wanted to color that. I love coloring people, but I will occasionally color a mandala. It depends on my mood. You know, everybody says that. It really does depend on their mood, and that's very true. It does depend on your mood, what you like to color. Guys. These pens always like to be. Come back. And we are bringing out polychromos. This is middle purple pink. This is a poly. I hope I have enough to do right here. Probably do. And while I was cleaning up, as some of you know, I didn't go live yesterday because I kind of hurt my back while I was cleaning up and going through my bookshelves. I was dusting them and then going through my reading books, seeing what I want to keep, what's gotten old, what's gotten yellow, what's good and what's not. When I was out the other day, I found my bullet tip. Now, some of you may not know what this is. This is the bullet style M&R, and this is the basic round one. So these are the two little M&R sharpeners that I like. Someone was asking me about, if you don't have your swordfish, which ones would you like? And the answer is those two. So this is middle purple pink. I guess it's going to be called Mermaid Sisters. I have decided I'm not going to do a background for the two pictures because it's going to be not a work, and sometimes it's better. And this is a polychromos. We didn't use polychromos really in the last stream. I forget to show you guys. Oh yes, I did forget to show you something. My mistake, guys. I did forget to show you one thing. Hold on. This is one of my two diamond pen cases. As you can see, I have quite a collection of diamond pens now. This is the brand newest one. This comes from Diamond Pen Pal. I call it a thick pen because of the 4 bumps, and you know what I like about this? It doesn't roll. Sometimes you get diamond pen paintings and they roll. You don't want a pen that rolls because that's bad, because those can break easily on you. So when you get pens, try to get pens that don't roll on you. This I got off of Amazon. So this is where I keep my thick pens and all the specialty pens. One of them, anyway. And these are my other pens. This is where I keep the other pens. Because as some of you know, these are where I keep the smaller pens. They may not be as big, but they still are nice pens, So if you guys are wondering, that's my diamond pen collection. Someone was asking me about it the other day. The pen stuff. Thank you, Diamond Painting Pen Unboxer. It's a lot of pens, I know. I just don't, what it is, diamond painting? I didn't like, when I got my first set, what I didn't like about the pens was I didn't like the pens that the kits came with. They were okay, but, over time I started, seeing some beautiful custom ones. And, I'm always amazed that they keep seeming to, as you would call it, evolve. Now, I could have used different pens. The only reason why I have this paper over it is to protect the image so the little things don't go over it. You know where's a good place to buy custom pens? And they all range in price, so is Etsy. Etsy has some beautiful ones. Dimitri. Also, if you're looking for good pens, I suggest you go to the Facebook group Patriotic Beauty. Her name is Stephanie Sebastian, and every Friday she drops a specialty pen. Now they range in price from $30 to about 60 because they're all handmade, and she spends a lot of time making them, and they're one of a kind pens. Or you can order a blank, and then you can work on colors, shape, and things like that. But she's very good from what I've heard. I haven't actually gotten one yet from haven't gotten one that I ordered from her yet. So, but that's how you get the pens from Stephanie of Patriotic Beauty. Also on Etsy, there's a lot of beautiful pen shops. There's Jim's Handmade, which a lot of people like him, but he is pricey. So keep up, be made aware of that. But there are a lot of places where you can get very affordable diamond painting pens that are custom made. They're made from resin and acrylic. So usually she tells you which one that she's putting up, resin or acrylic. Now the resin ones are more expensive. So the acrylic ones, but depends on where you're ordering because some of these people spend, and I will even say, guys, if you've ever watched the process of how to do a custom pen, it takes a lot of time to make one. Because you have to get the machine to turn it. And that's why some of the pens are like $30 or more. Some of them, not all of them. There are places where you can get cheaper pens. Diamond Art Club is another place which has very pretty pens. She uses mostly resin and acrylics. Stephanie Sebastian, aka Patriotic Beauty. She has a Facebook group, so here's the thing, Dimitri, if you're gonna do that, may I suggest you also make no roll pens because if you're gonna learn that, one of the things that I find with some of the diamond painting pens, and not the thicker ones, but the thicker ones don't roll as much as the thin ones. The thin ones roll much. So if you could try to make a thing that doesn't make them roll. That's the only thing I don't like about pens is some of the diamond pens roll, so you have to be careful when you buy them that you get pens that you really, really like, and you're going to be very careful with them. Notice that one will be red, one will be a purplish, pinkish red. What do they call this middle purple pink? Hmm. This one I had to wait a few weeks to get, Michelle. Well, I pre-ordered it when it first came out, and then I waited about a week after I was supposed to get it to get it. For some reason, this book is really, really popular. The paper's really nice on this one. There's a lot of animals in this one, but you'll figure a way around that. I'll color that. You really should get it. The paper's really nice on it. Now, I wouldn't get and use markers on this because it's a double-sided book. Now, if I had gotten the version that was single-sided like Sammy did, maybe I would use markers then. I think that was the Dutch version that was single-sided. There's like 3 versions of this. There's the Swedish version, and then there's the version where people got a single-sided copy of it. The Dutch version's a lot more money. Keep that in mind, Michelle. I kind of like it double-sided because then it makes it a pencil book for me. To me, when I buy books that are double-sided, I know they're going to be pencil books. But I've never seen a book like that from the Molly Harrison where one side is liner and the other side of the book is grayscale. I've never seen a book quite done like that before. Where I see something like the Jade Summer, or even when Hannah Lynn does her double-sided 2 pages, she'll have one page being regular and then she'll have the next image, the same image right behind it. Or in the case of Jade Summer, where they have the first part be one side of the images and then give you another, like the Meet Victoria. Jade Summer, Selena Finneck do that in their books. You will like it, I hope. I'm still in the middle of getting rid of stuff, cleaning stuff out, just getting rid of stuff that's no longer making me happy. How many of you guys have met a woman called, or seen the show? I've only seen an episode or two. It's called Happy Planner, and she's either Korean or Chinese or some other Asian race. I'm not really sure what she is, but I know she's. And Really? Why can't she do a grayscale? If she did grayscale color by number, I would do that. Hey, that's an idea. Grayscale color by number. No problem. You already got a hint as to what's in that box. One thing was very long. I even mentioned what I had put in there. Hey Corbin, how are you? You know, guys, I'm feeling a little bad because I don't think I'm going to be able to participate in drills and shows because I don't think I have a full diamond painting or even like one that's like a Halloween going on, and I want to participate in that, which is called Drills and Chills. So as soon as I'm finished my beast one, I'm gonna try and see if I have a full landscape one and some of the smaller ones. For me, I like 30 by 40s because they're very easy to do. They're very quick, and I can put them in my new scrapbook when I'm done. So what is everybody coloring reading? I'm also reading The Nameless Queen. It's a galley. I got it from Netflix. I'm really, really enjoying it. I didn't think I would enjoy it because it's more YA, but I actually feel as I'm reading it, it's not YA that speaks down to the reader. Sometimes when you read YA, it speaks down to the reader. I thought this was part of the hair. Make it part of her hair. I had seen that you did the orb. I like the way you did the orb. There's like a clown picture in here that I saw somebody do a really nice job with their pastels on it. So I must say I'm kind of impressed with the way they did this, but someone told me it's actually less than what you were getting in this. But I like this way of doing it because it's lighter and might end up, when I'm done with the other refills, I might end up eventually ending up buying more refills like that because it'll be less heavy on my place where I'm. That's good. I'm looking forward to when things return and then we can go back into theaters. None of the theaters are open by me. And I mean, we have a less than 1% infection rate where I am. I remember when we were the worst. So think about that. Hey, at least it's not beauty of horror. And I think I have one or two. I think I might have the first two beauty of horrors. I'm not really like I got those books because everybody else was getting them, and now I'm like kind of like, you know, like you ever buy a book and then you kind of regret purchasing, you're like, I like horror to a point. As long as it's not the grotesque humor. What I mean is, I can handle a little blood, I can handle guts, but I don't like to have it be too much. Because sometimes they do what's called overkill. Now, I grew up in the 80s, so I watched a lot of Freddy, Jason, Chucky. Who was the other one? Michael Myers. I grew up with a lot of that stuff. I hate clowns. Okay, guys, I really must make a confession. I do not watch the remake of It that they did. I do not like clowns. I really cannot stand clowns. Chucky can be horror. Chucky is considered horror. Jane Sim had a book this year, Kawaii Horror. Like, not the Chibi Girls horror, but the Kawaii Horror. I wanted to get it because the pictures are really cute, but I'm gonna wait till they get a grayscale book in. Sorry, I want it in grayscale. I like Jade Summer's grayscale books, to be honest with you, a lot better than I like her lineup. Or something like American Horror Story, where every year it's a different motif, and sometimes it's different errors. Um, like I really liked American Horror season one, which was Murder House. I thought it told a great story, and it was spooky. It was suspenseful. You know, I have no problem with horror if it tells a great story. The thing about American Horror season one was that it was great because it told a story. Even though you knew there were horror elements in it, it still told a good, solid story. Same thing with season two, The Asylum, which I thought Zachary Quinto was excellent, excellent in that season. My mother didn't like season three, which was Coven, but I really did like three. Then what was it, The Freak Show, which my mother really liked. I was not into that. Then it was Hotel, Roanoke, Roanoke, Cult, which I didn't like Cult very much. I actually thought Cult was one of their worst seasons. I thought it was a good story. I didn't think it was a great story. For me, a great story can be told in different ways, whether a great story will be told well. And, there are some stories we remember very, very well from our childhood. Um, to me, even comic books can tell great stories. Some of my favorite storylines in comic books with Death in the Family, which was the Jason Todd story, the death of the Batman's second Robin. That was a great emotional story. Like you knew that it was a sad story. Then Judas Contract with Me, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Those are great DC stories. Now, Marvel's great stories. Where can we begin? Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, the story of Fantastic Four when Galactus came. Comic books were my first real visual medium. Novels. Some of my favorite novels have been Clan of the Cave Bear. Great book, horrible movie adaptation of it. Many years ago, there was an adaptation of it. Horrible adaptation of it. Atlan, a great TV series adaptation. So I'm saying a great story can be adapted. Game of Thrones. Loved Game of Thrones. So a good story can be told in a multiple of ways. So to me, I think great stories tell, good stories always tell good stories. So what's wrong? Why is my live chat not moving? My live chat not moving? Oh no. You know what? I used to watch that in the beginning. My mother watches that now. I stopped watching after Rick left the show. What is the JC and GD curses? I'm not familiar with that term. I loved it until Rick left. I don't think Rick was a guy. I don't think we should talk about. Okay, now I understand, but I'm going to hide that, Corbin. It's not nothing personal, but when you start doing that, okay, I see what you're talking about, but yeah, I don't like when writers do that, but we're not going to bring that up here because some people, if we bring that up, then I can get flagged for that. Yeah, and I can get flagged for that, Michelle. I can get a strike for that. Believe it or not, you can get striked for that. I might end up spending the whole stream coloring here. There's so much here. But that happens, then this goes to a part 3. Well, someone says there's like 2 or 3 ways to tell a story. Like the first story, what comment? Yeah, you can remove it, Michelle. Thank you. So, and I'm kind of glad that I'm getting rid of stuff because it's not making me happy. Now, I was, I was talking about the Happy Planner, and she says that if stuff isn't making you happy anymore, you shouldn't keep it because then it just clogs up your joy. See, I can't get that little section in there, and I have to have the sharp point. I know you were answering but I didn't really understand the comment, so glad you elaborated on it. But you know what book series got insane, and then it got insane because the character ended up doing insane things with people. I'm like, excuse me, this is not what I signed up for when I read your paranormal series. I had to get the thing pointy. Sometimes the only way you can get into those little tiny spaces. See, this is why I don't like when they put the book in between the spine and they do the image in between the spine. I really, really don't like that. Hmm. I think so too, because you want to escape. Sometimes when we're reading books or being in a story, we just want to escape our own reality. I think today, because this is going to be a tremendous amount of hair. And if my books are yellow, I'm okay with getting rid of them if they're yellow. And the good part of getting rid of stuff is that you have less stuff. And then once you start having less stuff, you start appreciating the stuff you do have more. I think I'm going to make this green. Oh, no, these are two little fish. Why did I think it was something else? They're going to be orange. You know, this is a very, very bright color. Sometimes I think that people behave like victims because that's all they know. One, guys, I'm going to empty this out. See, this is what happens with pens. Have so much. And I do stuff off camera that you guys don't see. Thank you, Miss Shell. No giveaway today. There will be a giveaway on Monday. Michelle, you are not eligible to enter because you've won the last 3 times. So, plus, I just sent you a big, big box of things. That was funny. Robin made a funny comment in your stream, which I thought was funny. Grace Abel. And I'm thinking of possibly making another shelf, maybe my coloring books, because there's some books I'm trying to put them away, and every time I put away things, I give away things, it seems like another book takes its place in the shelf, and I'm like, how did that happen? Oh, another thing you should know. The other day, my mother was watching this channel called Investigation Discovery, I call it the murder channel because a lot of times what they're doing is things like fear thy neighbor and shows like that. So I call it the murder channel. And things like homicide detective and shows like that. What do I agree to? I agree that maybe I enable a little bit, but I prefer to think of it as sharing. I'm not an enabler. There are much bigger enablers than me, but I am on the enabler train. Although Ippy Gar would say, I have a front row seat to it. You don't know who Ippy Skippy Gar is. You guys really need to meet her. She is hilarious. And she says, you have a VIP train. You have a seat on the enabling train. So when people say, get aboard the enabling train, choo choo. Or when people say, hide your wallet from this person, you know you're in for a big time enabling show. I always say hide your wallets at some people's streams because it's funny. Hold on, guys. Let me just take this little sip. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize that my fan was on. I have a little, what you call a BLAU blow thing that I got because when I had no air conditioning in this house, it got really, really hot, and I bought one. It took a few weeks to come, but right as it came was when my air conditioning got restored in the house. So it's kind of like a day before. So the thing kept me very, very cool in my room. Guys, I do not kid you. This thing gets so hot in the summer. This room, it's not even funny. Like sometimes but before I got that, I wasn't like. You guys don't even know how hard it is to sleep in the heat without no air conditioning. But once I started getting sleep, I start feeling better. Because you know, if you don't sleep well, you can't do other things well. This is what I like. I have an Office Pro. I don't like the AFMAC too much because it's too big of a point for me. Why did that not get in there? That's very weird. It wouldn't go in all the way. What was my favorite book? My favorite series is Cheryl and Kenyon's Dream Hunters, and I would say one of my favorite books in the series would probably be Acheron, and the first book in the series, Dream Lover. Those were my early favorite books, my early favorite adult books. And then my very first fantasy YA that got me into it was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It's one of my favorite YA fantasy books and series. So that's what. And yes, I do own the coloring books for it, Miss Robin. I don't own the Dark Hunters book anymore. The book was just very lovely, but at this point wasn't bringing me joy. So you can tell. I feel that if all we do is the hair today. I did read The Lightning and Thief. I actually have Hammer of Thor, if I remember correctly. It's one of the few middle grade series that I do actually read and like. Um, I have read a few Nora Roberts. I've been meaning to read Virgin River, the Virgin River series by Robin Carr, which has actually been made in. The books have been adapted into a Netflix series, which I did watch the first season. I thought it was a very good first season. I know, but they'll be there eventually, and then it'll be like it was never. You won't feel like, oh, why did I wait so long? I think some authors can, but the thing about that series, the Percy Jackson series, I've read it. I don't think I've read any of her. Isn't J.D. Robb Nora Roberts, if my memory serves me correctly? I've also read J.K. Rowling. I remember when I first read Harry Potter. I came to Harry Potter accidentally because I had been reading Twilight at the time. And yes, I did buy Midnight Sun, Miss Robin. Been, I had been reading Twilight, and everybody kept mentioning this boy wizard, and I was like, "Excuse me, what is Hogwarts?" Because at the time I didn't know what it was. Then someone goes, "Have you ever read Harry Potter?" I go, "No." Then they started telling me about this boy wizard and his adventures and stuff like that, and I go, "Oh, this sounds like a book that I'd be interested in reading." So that's how I found out through my reading of Twilight. For those who've never read Harry Potter, you really should. Sometimes doing one part of the picture is really because it's a well, I think Harry Potter is much deeper. If you read those first four Harry Potter books, those books are far deeper than just a typical children's book. They're interesting because um, here's the thing: if you read those Harry Potter books, they're not just children's book. To me, it starts. The first book is very much about discovery, entering the world, discovering all these wonderful things. If you think about it from a realistic point, but the books get darker, and the subject matters that these characters deal with changes. Those books are far different because they're not your normal children's books. And she ages the characters with each book, so I put them all too. I remember for the sixth book, I hung out all night long in the store waiting for that book at 12 o'clock midnight. Never before in my life had I been done that crazy thing. Here's the I think you could have teenagers read that. If your teenagers 15 or older, you could have them read them because the subject material that they deal with in those books is very, very different. Like the first book is okay because it's lighthearted, a little more lighthearted. But I can see where you're coming from. It is dark. I think Harry Potter is a very good book, actually. And I think a lot of adults underestimate it. I think Harry Potter is a different type of book. And the same thing with Rick Riordan's books and even J.K. Rowling and especially the other when she writes under the other name. I think those books have deeper meaning to them. And as you read the books, the kids get older. I know. I think that there's a lot of messages in those books, but I think overall they are a great read. Once people get over the fact, oh, they're kids' books, they have nothing worthy in them. Now, when I read Twilight, I was big into vampires too. Let me tell you, vampires are not shiny. In some ways, but I think it's also about decisions we make, good and bad. We could sit here having a conversation about, are these books really children's, even though they were marketed to kids? Because that was what was selling at the time. But you have to understand, J.K. Rowling did something that hadn't been done in a really, really long time. And I think it's because those books were written very well. Here's the thing about those books. They were written well. They had good stories in them. If you tell a good story, it will sell. But the thing about Harry Potter, what J.K. Rowling did in the age of the internet, um, in the age of internet, she sold. That's okay. Go sit with your dad, Michelle. Have a good time with your dad. But here's the thing, too, you got to remember. Those books sold in the age where everybody was on the computer and on the internet, and it managed to sell and have people reading, children reading books. It's okay. Oops. We'll cover that up. Hmm. So I think a lot of people, this is not to say that it's a bad thing, but I think a lot of people underestimate the importance of the Harry Potter book in the time that it was being written. Somehow this got off coloring and got into the subject of books and Harry Potter and things like Twilight. Now, Twilight appealed to a demographic of young teenage girls who had never read vampires, or those of us who did read vampires at the time knew that this was not how the traditional vampire story went. You know, I think Harry Potter goes into deeper themes too, though. I think there is, when Draco calls Hermione a mudblood, I think there's a lot of racism there, and a message that's very powerful about racism and other things. Twilight books are different. I wouldn't say they're not written as well as the Harry Potter books. I think they're different. And here's a little unknown fact: Cedric Diggory was played by Robert Pattinson, who ended up later playing Edward Cullen in Twilight. Yes, he was in the Potter movies as Cedric Diggory. Little Twilight Harry Potter trivia. Hey T, how are you? Hey Selena. So that's a little trivia for those of us who may not be familiar with the Harry Potter books. True Blood, we totally went off the script. Now, I've read the Charlene Harris books, and the Charlene Harris books are much different than the TV series. They adapted a lot of that material, and then they went totally 180 with the adaptation. And I'm not kidding when I say they went 180. Now, there's an example of taking a book property and doing it totally different. Well, I don't know if you like the Suki Stackhouse's novel, if you like the TV series, because it's totally different. The way they did the storylines on the HBO series, they made them much darker than they were in the book series. I read most of the series except for the last 4 books, but I'll tell you, that series, the way it ended, and my friend spoiled the way that series ended. I didn't even bother reading it because I was so angry at the way that the book series ended. They changed that a lot on the TV series. Not even kidding. Because in the books, Suki ends up with Sam. Yeah, she does end up with Sam. She doesn't end up with Eric or Bill. And Bill and Eric are still, well, Bill is still alive when the series ends in the books. just to give you an idea of how different the book series is. That's one major difference. Sorry, guys. Trying to get the green. 50 Shades is nothing more than a. Okay, I have my feelings about 50 Shades. Don't get me started on 50 Shades. I don't like it. And I have very strong reasons why. And I've read a lot of different types of books, and I think I hate to say this, but 50 Shades is poorly written. Like Jane Patterson, V.C. Andrews was one of those books I read as a teenager. You know, I would always read them as teenagers. Notice today it's polychromos. I will be reading that. I will. Yeah, that's basically how I feel about 50 Shades. And it's badly written. Yes, I will be reading it at some point. I didn't buy it for my Kindle for no reason. I didn't buy it in hardcover, Robin. I just don't have room right now for it in hardcover. I put it on my Kindle instead. I thought it was a better way for me to get my books. Sometimes I'll probably be in the future being, if I do read books, I'll probably put them now on my Kindle rather than having them in my house, because I just frankly don't have the room for things. So I'd rather put things on my Kindle as far as reading. I tried to read it. It was so poorly written. Let me tell you something. 50 Shades is probably one of the worst written BDSM books I've ever read in my life. Really bad. I've read better. And I say I've read better. And I mean I've read better. That was so poorly written. There are people who love it, which I'm all for them to love it, but really, people, read better stuff. There are so many better people who can write fiction than E.L. James. Now, some people have said that if you know anything about E.L. James, you know that she was a fan fiction writer. That this book, 50 Shades, was actually called Masters of His Universe. Yeah, that was the original title. She fanfic Twilight. You mean movies? Not TV shows, Kim. They made 2 movies. And that's not to say that it's not the choice, but I've read a couple in my time. I've lost count how many, but trust me, there are a lot of better writers out there that do that. This color is dark phthalo green. 50 Shades is an example of it. A poor example, but nevertheless. You will eventually come to one. I think we all read things that we like, and then somebody else will say, no, I didn't like it. I think it's crap. I think Twilight is okay. It's not great writing, but it's okay writing. I think I missed the hair. I think I'm going to name this Mermaid Sisters. And that's what we're going to call this image, Mermaid Sisters. We need to do the hair. We missed the hair. That could be interpreted a lot of different ways, Miss Robin. That could be interpreted a lot of different ways. What you just said. Okay. Light Pathala blue for the eyes. Well, there's different kinds depending on what you want to read. And then there's all those categories for books. Like you have children's literature, middle grade literature, which is considered children, but sometimes it can be teens can read middle grade. Some adults do too, to see what their children are reading. New adult, young adult, adult, contemporary, historical, romance. I have plenty of gel pens. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do this. This is salmon pink, and this is shell pink. Now this is shell pink. Coral. Sorry guys, I thought this was gee, the crazy drunks are out now. Just heard one. Remind me. Mm-hmm. I know voice, voice to speech sometimes can be that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what like why I like someone like Robin Carr or Jeanette Oak who do those beautiful books about fate. Like Robin Carr does some beautiful, beautiful writing. She does contemporary writing. She does historical. She does that like lovely stuff like you see. Jeanette Oak is the woman behind the books called Where the Heart Is and things like that. I tend to like, as I get older, I kind of like that stuff more. Now as an adult, I didn't really get those things. I guess I didn't like them as a child because I think I found the message a little too zappy. But now as an adult, I find the message much more heartfelt. Now I'm just going to put this here. Need to go around the skin tone a little bit. Giving her a little eyeshadow. So I think this is where we will end, and then we will do more on Monday. We will finish this probably on Monday. I'm not familiar with Max Lucado. So I think this is where we will end the stream for today. And then I guess we still have all the stuff on the bottom to do, the skin and then the bubbles. So there's actually still a lot to do on this picture. I'm just putting away the pencils I used today, so everything stays somewhat organized. So I want to thank you guys for coming. Thank you very much, guys, and I really appreciate it. So I'm going to open this now so you guys can see how much work we've done on this. First stream we did her. The second stream we did this. The third stream we'll probably finish it up, hopefully. So hopefully an hour and a half. So I want to thank you guys for coming. So, and this will count for Color Your Hoard, these two ladies, so because it is one image. So bye everybody. Be good to one another. Done. So it doesn't get ruined. I put a paper in between them sometimes. Sometimes when you're using Prismas or pencils, they can tend to smudge. So that's why I'm doing that way. So bye everybody. Have a good day, and I hope you all are well. Bye everybody.